Okay, here we have the 1958 Bellboy 16-foot express cruiser, named by some previous owner Whistle Girl in southwestern Washington or the Portland area. The boat has all of its original deck hardware, as far as I can tell, and it's not badly corroded, hard to see behind the lines. It has the unique to the 58 model wraparound cabin window with the interesting brow, which is very attractive. Very nice aluminum trim around the windows, in good shape, no corrosion, just a little discolored. The emblems are even pretty good as these things go. Just a little bit of surface corrosion, but nothing really nasty. I think they could actually clean up pretty well. It needs new rub rail, but the aluminum trim underneath is in good shape. Just need to get in touch with Wefco Rubber and get some new rub rail. The upper wraparound windshield has been chopped down in height by maybe as much as 4 inches, and the guy did a pretty good job. It's pretty good looking. Original Bellboy grab rails on the cabin top. And of course the unique sort of low-slung tail fins of the 58 model, which give you a tremendous amount of freeboard in the cockpit area. So it's a nice looking boat. The hull is in excellent shape. I don't see a lot of gouging or evidence that it's been spending a lot of its time on barnacle beaches. And of course it has the vintage teeny trailer with the always collectible unique fenders. So we'll walk around the stern here and take a look at the splash well. This motor doesn't relate to the Bellboy. It's a short shaft 75 horse McCulloch on a long shaft transom. But this boat has its original custom cast aluminum trim, for instance these stern corner pieces, and the transom has been protected from delamination by the aluminum trim, and someone fabricated this really well done wraparound aluminum plate to give the transom more strength. It's a molded in splash well, a real improvement over the earlier Bellboy plywood splash wells. So you've got a lot of height there, preventing water from ever getting inside the cockpit, plus your 20-inch transom height. There's a speedometer pickup tube still mounted on the transom. And let's go aboard and take a look in there. Okay, inside the cockpit area of the Bellboy, you can see that the windshield is fogged. Just about all the plexiglass in the boat is fogged, but I haven't seen any cracking, just the fogginess, which I think you might be able to buff out. Down in the cabin, same thing. More foggy windows, but they're all there and unbroken, which is great. This one has the molded fiberglass storage cubbies on each side. Another improvement over the earlier model. Bruce Drake cut away what was left of the old four-peak berth, I think because the plywood was soft and rotten. And there's a pattern piece here for the original cabin bulkhead, which was just a partial bulkhead that you would mount the steering wheel on. The pad for the controls is still here. And the boat still has its original hinged pivoting helm seats that mount port and starboard. The helm seats are overboard here, but they're intact and complete with all the hardware, along with pattern pieces that Bruce preserved of the forepeak berth, hatch covers, and other odds and ends. So moving back in the boat, I pulled up half of the floor. It's hard to tell if this is original plywood or a replacement, but it came up in two pieces and just needs to be replaced. Fortunately, this model in '58 has the half-round cast fiberglass stringers, which are a vast improvement over the old wood stringers that Bellboy used in the 16s in '54, '55, '56, and '57. So this boat has fir plywood frames that are glassed in over the stringers and run from side to side. As far as I can tell, you could do a little additional glass taping work to where these things may have popped loose around the perimeter edges, but otherwise they seem to be sound, with maybe one exception. And it's just a matter of pulling the floor up and replacing it. And then up in the forepeak berth area, there's a box with the original fiberglass stern corner seats that are mounted just forward of the splash well bulkhead. And then there's, I think it's a cockpit cover with snaps that looks like it's in pretty good shape actually. And then way up in the bow, amazingly, we have the original Bellboy hull ID number with the Union stamp. Haven't tried to decode that yet, but we know it's a '58 model. And the aluminum trim around the windows is just as good on the inside as it was on the outside. And the stainless machine screws that are holding everything in may actually back out pretty easily on this boat. So with the partial bulkhead, what they did was to hang a little curtain on sliders just inside the cabin where the bulkhead would have been. And the little sliders are still in place here. So it's just a matter of coming up with some new fabric to install, and you've got yourself a fabric bulkhead. There's a dome light and a view back to the transom splash well area. So the boat's in remarkable condition, very original. All the parts and pieces are here, and the transom appears sound from what we've been able to tell so far. I'm going to do a little more probing with a long sharp object down under the splash well. But so far so good, and very nice to see these fiberglass stringers. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.